You want to see the worst ghost hunting show of all time? Then you came to the right place. Paranormal Home Inspectors is exactly what you're looking for. However, it's also the best ghost hunting show of all time. It's a show that's so bad, it's good. According to IMDb, Paranormal Home Inspectors explores the homes of people who feel they are being haunted. If you like what I do, then consider subscribing and let me know your thoughts in the comments. There's not much information on this show. It's kind of hard to find. It seems like they made the show, but it was so atrocious that they were embarrassed and pulled it from all the services. Kind of like how George Lucas wanted to smash all copies of the holiday special with the hammer. Believe me, ghosts are much more interesting than an incorrectly installed door. I welcome ghosts, goblins, and ghouls happily. But in this show, unfortunately, there are none. So why are they trying to convince you otherwise? Each section is just so weird and seems so disjointed from each other. The host of the show is not even the same woman who does the voiceover. What's with that? After they meet the homeowner and they hear their story, they call the home inspector and give him the list of things that are haunted. He then comes and disproves absolutely everything. He is so not into it, and you can tell he's just there because he's getting paid. After that, they call the paranormal investigators and they investigate, but you can tell it's so fixed and all the things they talk about are just so mundane and things that are not even remotely scary. You know what's truly terrifying? Pastels. And they stretch far to make connections that are barely even there, or not there at all. It's like you give a millimeter and they take 10,000 kilometers. Every tragic thing that has ever happened ever within 100 kilometers of the house is used as evidence for ghost activity or related to the hauntings of the house. It's just so crazy. There is even an episode of one person who has experienced sleep paralysis, and they said that was caused by aliens. And that's not fair, because I never met an alien that can cause that. Nadine, the psychic, just seems so phony, like she doesn't even believe what she herself is saying. The conclusion always involves the paranormal, and never the logical explanation that has been proven by the home inspector. Everything is always arranged in a way to reinforce the beliefs and biasness of the showrunners, ghost hunters, and homeowners, and the home inspector's findings are always disregarded. I'm going to focus on 2 episodes today, episode 1 and episode 8.
There's something very dark in here.
The activity is getting a little bit more aggressive.
Oh, get me out of here. I gotta go.
Yeah, I definitely think we got enough evidence.
There's nothing wrong with this house at all.
In the first episode, homeowner Catherine calls the show to have her house inspected because of paranormal activity. Her house is old and figures such an old house has to be full of ghosts. So the host meets with Catherine to talk about the house. The best part, Brian, is a home inspector and he comes to see the house. So they have a home inspector come to check the house, but a regular home inspector, not a paranormal home inspector. This show is called Paranormal Home Inspectors. Why do they have a regular guy go in and check it out? I mean, yeah, you should have your home inspected, but if they're looking for ghosts, what's this guy doing here then?
It's clearly time for certified home inspector Brian Daly to shine his flashlight on the matter.
So the first thing on our checklist is something about a fishbowl, and that was in the kitchen. There's our fishbowl. Now, that looks like a newer bowl, obviously. The old one, according to my notes from Michelle, kind of looked like a brandy glass. Now, that glass is really thin.
A hairline crack, lots of water pressure, vibration from the street noise. It's a no-brainer.
So that one is definitely off the list.
So already they're checking out the fishbowl, which the first one broke because it was very thin, and already they checked that out and ruled out ghosts. But the thing that I have a question about is that if you have a show that's about ghosts, looking for ghosts in your house, why do you have a guy looking for normal everyday occurrences? It's like, yes, in real life, you would have somebody come and inspect to see maybe the house is causing things to happen, or it's an old house, or vibrations, or, like he said, you would have that in real life. But if you're trying to do a ghost show, why do you have this guy going around and saying, no, it's not ghosts, it's just various other things because the house is old? I mean, what's the point of having that in the video here?
I was told by Michelle that this deadbolt was giving problems and it kept locking on its own.
You slam the door a certain way, that lock will slam shut. It's just a spring-loaded mechanism. That can happen. Absolutely.
We're already off to a great start. I mean, each thing he goes to each item on the list, oh, this thing was because of a ghost, or this thing was because of a ghost, and the door locked by itself, and the fishbowl broke by itself, and he keeps going to each thing and already disproving, hey, no, it's no ghost, it's just, you know, various things. You shut the door, it's a spring, so it'll close by itself if you do it too hard. I mean, I'm only about 6 minutes into the episode, and they are already doing everything they can to tell you, hey, it's not ghosts. I don't know, let's keep watching. Maybe things change. I don't know, let's find out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this all comes together in some way.
All right, let's have a look at the drains. So this helps us just see a little bit further on down. I've seen a lot of things down drains, but I've never seen anything like this.
It's not what I expected to see at all. There's things down there that are just kind of scary.
Is there something buried down there?
No.
Was there something buried down there?
Yes.
What, did they bury it and then take it out? I mean, maybe they did, but why didn't you just answer yes if that was the case?
Okay, we're gonna go upstairs and have a look at closet door. Right off the top, I can see that our floor is sagged a little bit.
Door at the top of the stairs is an easy one. It's not level to begin with because the floor is shifted, so it naturally wants to open.
These old latches also never latch properly. One of the things we do know is that we've got newer windows in the house. With newer windows, it creates a tight building envelope. Every time you open a front door, doors swing open. Plus, the homeowner has a cat. A cat is always pawing at something, always trying to get inside closets, so he probably swung it open just like that. So this is something that I'm going to be checking off my list.
Just thing after thing, he's saying, hey man, it's not a ghost, it's just your house is old and it has all kinds of various issues. Well, what a ghost show so far.
Okay, my notes tell me that in this room, there's a strong smell of mustiness. I got a really good sense of smell, and I don't smell anything in this room, but there is evidence that we've obviously had a roof leak at one point in time that's been repaired.
There's nothing going on there. I think the homeowner's just smelling things.
Oh.
Well, there you go. He says there's nothing going on.
Okay, in the bathroom here, our homeowner swears that the taps were mysteriously on.
Sleepwalking. There's got to be no other explanation.
And look at this, they seat just perfectly.
I'm sure that the homeowner probably inadvertently turned them on and went to bed and didn't know that she left them on.
First of all, there's our culprit, the cat. Now, my list tells me that the homeowner has heard noises in the attic. There's probably raccoons trying to get together and make baby raccoons.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely raccoons. I stuck my head up in the attic and I saw the evidence.
We can see evidence of feces and where the insulation's been disturbed.
There's nothing unexplainable or strange in this house. Everything has a plausible explanation. Not uncommon to have these types of things happen in a house of this age. It's called character. It has lots of creaks and bumps and grinds. There's nothing wrong with this house at all.
This is the greatest show I have ever seen, let alone the greatest ghost hunting show ever. Already, not even halfway in the first episode, they already threw out the entire show. So there's nothing weird in this house. You guys just are imagining things, and I don't understand. Okay, if you're gonna have a guy come and inspect your house, okay, that's fine. Do it after you have the ghost people go and look for ghosts. Why in the hell do you have it in the beginning? How does that make any sense? So you're gonna have the guy come and look for ghosts, and then you're gonna have the paranormal people come in and say, hey, you know, I know the guy said it wasn't ghost, but oh, just kidding, it's ghost, lol. Like, what? Like, how does that make any sense? I've heard a lot about this show, but I still can't believe it. I can't believe it. How does this show exist? I mean, I'm glad it does. How are you gonna disprove your entire episode of the show, and probably the whole show in general, in the very beginning part of the episode? I mean, this is crazy. What incentive is there for me to continue watching when the guy inspector says, hey, there's no ghosts? What am I gonna look at afterwards? What's the point? We already know there's no ghosts. So why am I gonna continue watching? I don't understand. It's called character. Yes, I mean, he's not wrong.
But the rest of the team may not be convinced.
How is the rest of the team not convinced? I don't understand. How are you not convinced? Everything has a logical explanation. If there was something unusual that he couldn't explain, that he couldn't figure out, and he said, I don't know what this is, then maybe, okay, I would see why the other people would not be convinced. But he disproved every single thing on the list. How are you not convinced? Everything they were concerned about, he gave a reasonable explanation for. I know that, I mentioned it already, but I just don't understand. I really don't understand. This breaks all narrative form. Even though reality TV shows don't follow traditional narrative standard, like a movie or like a book or something, you would still have some sort of editing to give it a story, like a beginning, a middle, and end. But this doesn't do anything like that. I don't. And this has 2 seasons or whatever. I mean, that's not a lot. But how does it have more than 1 episode? I mean, for a viewer, this is great. But from a production point, I don't know. I have no idea. This is one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen. I really don't understand.
Renowned intuitive healer Nadine Mercy is looking for something Brian can't see. She'll take the spiritual pulse of the house.
And so the paranormal inspectors go into the house, not convinced of the normal home inspectors' answers.
I have this really heavy presence in my chest. I'm actually picking up an animal spirit. 2 elderly men, a lady. There's quite a few here, and I'm not sure why. I'm just gonna ask everybody to calm down because it's a little bit overwhelming right now. They're basically saying I won't take no for an answer. There's a lot of presence in this room right now. A little bit of heaviness here, and I'm not sure why.
I'm assuming, I don't know, but I'm assuming each episode is somewhat like this. There's somebody that says their house is haunted. The home inspector comes and they check the house out. The paranormal inspectors come and say, hey, never mind, it's actually ghost, LOL, your house is haunted. Let's just assume it is like that. Every single instance, the home inspector is always wrong. Paranormal inspectors are gonna be like, no, you're wrong. Every single time the home inspector's wrong. And every episode the home inspector's wrong. Doesn't it just make more logical sense to have him come afterwards and say, you know what? We thought it was ghosts, but really your house just has character. Doesn't it make more sense to do that? Doesn't it give you, as a viewer, more incentive to do the episode to see, maybe it is something with the house. Sometimes I'm just so baffled at the poor writing and structure of professional productions. How can they make such, let's just continue.
Why are you here? I keep asking you, why are you here? You're asking me to leave. I want you out of the house. There's something very dark in here. I don't want to be in this room. It's not feeling good. I gotta leave. They just pushed me right out. I'm gonna leave.
Nadine is returning to the house with our research assistant, Ashley, to drive our investigation forward.
What investigation? You should have had this first.
Is there something buried down there?
No.
Was there something buried down there?
Yes.
Traditional Home Inspector Brian Daly conducted a routine inspection that did provide some reasonable answers after intuitive healer Nadine Mercy was spiritually pushed from this house. Nadine's report is clear. She believes there is paranormal activity in the house.
This is fantastic. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. She thinks there's paranormal activity in the house, even though the home inspector said they were just common issues because it's an old house.
As the sun sets on the 4th day of our investigation, it seems likely that there's a supernatural presence in Catherine's home. Michelle heads back to the house to set up her paranormal investigative gear and spend the night there with a suitably spooked Ashley.
Why are you setting up gear? There's no need to set up gear. There's no need to set up gear. Why are they setting up the gear? Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, I've seen a lot of crap, a lot of bad movies, and I love it. I love bad movies. I live for it. I love feeling the pain, like I said. Remember, I'm a masochist. I love feeling the pain of all these horrible garbage movies. But you know, sometimes real life gives you something that's even worse. I am truly astounded. This episode should have ended like 20 minutes ago, and we're only 14 minutes in. Well, let's see what happens next. They spent 5 days inspecting? For real? After the guy inspected on the first day or two and he said that there was no issue? They spent additional days inspecting?
Alone in the house, they listen and they wait.
I keep hearing things.
Yeah, you know what they're hearing? It's the raccoons in the attic.
What are you hearing? Do you hear that? I do?
Yes, it's the raccoons. He said it was raccoons. Oh my god. Ay, Dios mío.
Can you do it again? I just heard the running again. What was that?
Running? Yes, that's what raccoons do. Raccoons, they run like that, you know. And that's where you're hearing. How in the hell is it a ghost?
There was nothing there. That just went off on its own.
It's gonna go crawl in a hole.
Let's go in the bedroom.
Paranormal activity is clearly heating up in the house, taking an unexpected toll on Ashley.
I'm getting a really bad headache.
Are you?
Yeah, I think I need some fresh air or something.
Ashley, did you leave the house yet? Ashley?
I haven't been this shook up and a little bit. Oh, you know, and I forgot to have a cat too, so it could have been the raccoons or the cat. You know how many times a night I hear the cats going back and forth and running all over the place and doing things like that? Every cat owner knows that. There are even memes about that, apparently. So there are two possibilities: the raccoon or the cat. Realistically, which one do you think it's more likely? An animal? It's confirmed to be living in this house? Or a ghost? That is not confirmed to be in this house. And there has been no evidence of a ghost in this house. And nobody has seen a ghost in this house. But yet they have seen the raccoon and the cat. Which one do you think will be making noise at night?
My assistant Ashley developed such a headache that she had to leave the building. She never came back, and she has subsequently quit the team.
Well, that doesn't sound very good.
I'm sorry to see her go.
Yeah, she quit the team because this she quit the team because this is a pile of garbage, and she didn't want to be associated with this. She just said, "All you people are batshit crazy," and left.
I've done extensive research into this home and the land surrounding it. This land used to be a native settlement.
Oh, of course, the Indian burial ground. Isn't that the reason for all the haunted house things and, you know, like everywhere?
The house was built by a plumber in 1913. A couple by the name of George and Joan lived here for 35 years. Nadine believes that those are two of the spirits that are dwelling here. In 1916, 3 years after this house was built, 2 boys down the road went missing without a trace. In summary, Brian has come up with some plausible explanations for what has been going on in the house.
They're not plausible. They are the explanations. Oh my God.
However, from what Nadine has discovered and from my investigation, I'm tending to gear more towards that there is paranormal activity going on here.
Why do we even have that guy on this show? I mean, for real, like, for real, I'm glad he's there. If this show was just them looking around for ghosts and everything, it'd be boring as hell. But because he's there, this is what makes the show. That inspector guy. But in reality, from like the production point of view, why do you have him there? If you want to convince people about the possibility of ghosts, why do you put somebody there that's gonna tell you otherwise? Now, if your goal is to be objective, then that's fine. You can have him there, but put him in the end. At the end, they ask her if she wants to stay in the house, and she says yes. Nothing about fixing the issues of the house in any way or form. So absolutely nothing has changed from the beginning of the episode. Well, that was something. And this is only the first episode, and I've heard this is not even the best episode. If this is not even the best episode, then man, I'm in for a real treat. Episode 8 features husband and wife, Claude and Yvette. It says that they moved into their house, but a few months later, their daughter passed away and they think that the house is being haunted by the daughter. I feel bad for the family because I'm sure they're going through a hard time, but please, don't call a ghost hunting TV show. Consider counseling. I have been going to counseling to deal with complex trauma, having been homeless, being in a dysfunctional family, with eating disorders, and dealing with loss. I promise you it would help. Even if it's just a little bit. Don't listen to these people and this asinine show.
In the time since the tragedy, Claude and Yvette have experienced strange occurrences in their house. But has their grief turned common incidences into something more? Or is there indeed paranormal activity happening in the home?
The point is to not make fun or put down the people going through tragedy. No, I wish them the best. The point of everything is to see the absurdity of the people making the show and how they just... and everything that goes in it. That's the crazy part. Anyways, the hosts meet with the homeowner and they talk about their experiences.
We're gonna do our best to find you guys some answers.
You mean you're gonna do your best to create some answers and reach far to make that happen? Afterwards, the home inspector goes to the house.
One day, according to my notes, the homeowner came home, the TV was on, he passed by it. There's another TV in the room just adjacent, and they kind of did a flip-flop or something. So this TV is working flip-flop with the other TV just across in the other room. The remote that's being used for these TVs is a universal remote. It operates on the same frequency, and that could have easily turned one off and one on at the same time. He just didn't realize it.
You know, that happens here. I have a remote for some electric candles, and when I push the on button for the candles, it also turns on the electric fireplace.
We're gonna have a look at the fireplace in the living room here. Apparently it's been coming on and off by itself. So the problem seems to have occurred down here with the electronics. And then look at this. We can see right here, the wires are loose. We've got a loose screw in the connection. This is an easy fix. It's just a turn of the screw just to tighten up that connection, and the fireplace should operate properly.
This guy just keeps ruining everything.
The homeowners suggest that when they're in this room, they hear voices. Outside, we noticed that the building envelope is not tight. There's no doubt in my mind that what the homeowners are hearing in here is outside influenced noises. Something's happened with this painting where it apparently flew off the wall and it hit and knocked off the wall sconce. We've got so much vibration from these train tracks. There's no way that this actually flew off the wall. It fell off the wall. Absolutely something that could... Look, it just happened there.
And I can confirm, just like with the fireplace thing, I used to live in a house that in the back of it were train tracks. Every time the trains would go by, it'd vibrate everything, and sometimes things would fall. Even I can say that these are reasonable explanations.
Apparently these taps were turned off. Somebody came into the bathroom afterwards and it was on full. I'm not quite sure how that could have happened, but let's have a closer look and see whether we have any faulty tap. And I can see just by the way it operates, it's not operating properly. When we turn from hot to cold, it's pretty obvious that we're dealing with a defective tap. Now, in this bedroom, the homeowner was sleeping here one night, and the stuffed animal that's over on that night table now wasn't here. It usually resides in the basement and ended up in the doorway here on the floor. We have cats and dogs in the house. Animals tend to do things that are unexpected.
And just like in the other episode, this proved everything paranormal and ghost related and said there was nothing unusual about this house.
I'm satisfied that we've been able to resolve every issue in this house.
Brian is convinced there is nothing unusual going on in the client's house.
In this next section, they're at the local library trying to find information about the house or area, and they found that there was somebody who was murdered nearby.
Michelle and her assistant Matt spend time at the town archives.
6 months prior to Ashley's death, they found the remains of another young girl nearby the house.
Really?
Could Michelle and Matt's findings relate to what has been going on in the home?
How does this have to do with the house? How does nearby have anything to do with that? This also has nothing to do with their daughter, and frankly, to involve some other person that didn't ask to be a part of this is kinda wrong. Next, the psychic is going around the house with her extremely unconvincing and wooden acting and performance, and she goes and talks about all the ghosts and the presence that's in the house.
Intuitive healer Nadine Mercy will conduct her investigation.
Are you talking to me? Who's talking to me here? I'm getting an image of a cat. Black cat. Bad luck.
Black cats are not bad luck. Black cats are absolutely beautiful. And people that think otherwise are just dumb.
I'm being directed to look at this picture. Did she pass away?
If you see an altar with the picture and candles around it, you know the history about their daughter. What kind of question is that? Oh my god.
Is this a murder? Not quite clear. Not in this room. Okay, that girl is here. Ooh, she just came right through me. The daughter speaks to me, but not the other one. I can see her again. Don't go there. Don't go there. Oh, get me out of here. I gotta go.
They then do a night section, just like any other episode, to try and catch or communicate with the ghosts. But again, all these occurrences are so mundane and not scary, yet they use every single thing as evidence of ghosts. Even when the home inspector said they are regular old things and he verified them.
Ashley, can you bang on the wall? Can you bang back just so we know that you're here?
I thought I heard tapping in the kitchen, though. That sounded like a rock or something on the roof.
Whoa. Ashley, can you do it again?
Whatever is in this house is just under our nose. Yeah, I definitely think we got enough evidence here this evening, that's for sure.
At the end, they meet up with the homeowner and they tell him that everything can be traced to the two ghosts.
I'm satisfied that we've been able to resolve every issue in this house.
I disagree with.
This show is so frustrating, so frustrating. How do people still believe it's ghosts when they showed them it had nothing to do with ghosts?
I came across a girl by the name of Dolly, and she passed away only 6 months before Ashley passed away. The big picture here is that Ashley and Dolly, they want to inspire others.
And once again, throughout every explanation by the home inspector. This show really is one of the worst, if not the worst show I have ever seen. It just flabbergasted me to the core how much of a mess this show is. It's a completely abysmal catastrophe, and I love it. I mean, everything from the direction, the story, or in this case, the episode structure, the editing, the music, the tone, The psychics acting, the pacing, the writing. I mean, they didn't even explain what was in the drain in the first episode. I mean, everything is just awful. It's not coherent and it just doesn't make any logical sense. And those ghost inspectors are just pure cringe. The woman with all the feelings and the presence and all that, the psychic, is just so unconvincing. Her presentation is so poor. It seems like she's not even trying or that into it. It's like they're trying to make you believe them, but it comes off as so fake. But the biggest issue here has to be with the narrative structure of the show. It's so odd, and it completely fails at being a ghost hunting show and a ghost debunking show. So its biggest flaw has to be in the story structure. The overall presentation of the show is just so poor. The show needs a complete reformatting, but then it would just be like any other show and wouldn't be as memorable or as fun as it is now. So maybe it should stay as it is. If it were not for the home inspector so casually invalidating everything, this show wouldn't have been as memorable or as fun and wouldn't be worth anything. The look on the people's faces when they are told what they thought were ghosts were really just normal things, è bellissimo. But some people really continue to believe it was ghosts, and the host still presses on with that, even when all the evidence there is pointing to everything but ghosts, even to raccoon sex, but not ghosts. The people that still believe must be delusional or must not want to appear wrong on TV, so they stand by what they think even if it's wrong. But that is worse, because it just makes you look like a fool. It's wild how the people making this saw this and said, yeah, this is top quality. To think how this show got made and was released to the public for people like me is inconceivable, unthinkable, and incomprehensible. Since this is a non-narrative work, the scoring is different than compared to narrative works. The same scoring factors that are narrative works can be used in non-narrative, documentary, or reality TV works. Things like cinematography can be included because documentary and reality shows' main focus is not on that, but in capturing the action as it happens. When there is something bad, we discount a point, and when there is something good, we just leave it alone. After calculating all the points on a scale from 0 to -10, 0 being the most boring, most uninteresting show, to -10 being the worst, most interesting and fun show, the total score is -7.35. And this is a rubric that was graded on. The show is one of the strangest, most baffling shows I've ever seen, and that must be the reason why it's not well known. But it should be. It's awful. Awfully fun. I definitely recommend this show, especially watching it with friends or others that like ghost hunting shows and or bad shows in general. Thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video. If you want to support the channel even more, visit me on Patreon. I am also on Fiverr, offering services for all your audio and video production needs, including film and YouTube video editing and music production.
There's nothing wrong with this house at all.